There was once a young man who was always in a hurry. Every day felt like a race and every hour felt too short. He was always chasing something: success, money, a better life. He believed that one day, when everything finally fell into place, he would rest. He would be happy. He would start living. But not now. Now was for work. Now was for the struggle. Now was for the sacrifice. He kept telling himself the same thing over and over again. I still have time. He had time to call his family later. Time to visit his friends later. Time to rest later. Time to enjoy life later. What he didn't know was that time doesn't wait for later. One evening, while rushing through a quiet park, the young man slowed down for the first time in a long while. Not because he wanted to, but because he noticed an old man sitting alone on a wooden bench. The old man was doing nothing extraordinary. He was simply sitting there, feeding birds, watching the sky change colors as the sun slowly disappeared. There was something unusual about him. He looked peaceful in a way that was almost unfamiliar. The young man, who had been rushing his entire life, suddenly found himself wondering what it felt like to have nowhere to rush to. For reasons he couldn't explain, he sat down on the bench. And for the first time in a very long time, he did nothing. As they sat there in silence, the old man pulled out a small hourglass from his pocket and placed it beside him. The sand inside was already falling. The young man watched the tiny grains of sand slip from the top to the bottom, slowly, quietly, without making a sound. It was strange how something so small could be so difficult to stop watching. The old man stared at the hourglass as if he understood something that most people didn't. Time was moving, just like the sand, quietly, constantly, without asking for permission, without waiting for anyone to be ready. In that moment, the young man realized something. He had been so busy chasing life that he had never stopped to watch time pass. The old man looked like someone who had lived many years and carried many stories. There was a certain sadness in his eyes, the kind that comes from understanding something too late. He had once been young and full of plans. He had once believed that life was something that could be scheduled for later. Later he would spend time with the people he loved. Later he would rest. Later he would enjoy the life he was working so hard to build. But later is a dangerous word. Later often becomes never. Years passed quickly, as they always do. And one day he realized that the people he loved had grown older without him. Some of them were gone. Some of them had stopped waiting for him. He had spent his whole life preparing to live, but he forgot to live while preparing. And that was a mistake he could never fix. Most people think they understand time. They measure it in minutes and hours and years. They say time is money, but time is not money. Money lost can be earned again. Opportunities lost can sometimes return, but time lost is gone forever. Time is life itself. It is the only thing every human being is given in equal amount each day, yet it is also the one thing no one can save for later. Every morning, life gives us a new 24 hours, and every night, whatever we didn't use is taken away. Whether we were too busy, too distracted, too tired, or too focused on tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Time goes. The young man began to understand that the future he was chasing was made up of moments just like this one. Small, quiet, ordinary moments. moments he had been ignoring his entire life. As the sun began to set, something inside the young man changed. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about what was next. He wasn't thinking about work. He wasn't thinking about money. He wasn't thinking about the future. He was just sitting there, watching the sand fall, watching the sky change, breathing slowly. He realized that life was not a destination he would arrive at one day. Life was happening in the moments he kept postponing. And if he kept postponing those moments, he might arrive at the future and realize he missed his life. When the young man finally stood up to leave, everything felt different. The park looked different. The air felt different. Even time itself felt different. He looked down at the hourglass in his hand and watched the last grains of sand fall to the bottom. And in that moment, he understood the lesson. The biggest mistake in life is thinking you have time. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for someday. Don't wait for things to slow down. Because one day, you will realize that the perfect moment was not in the future. It was now. Take care of your time, because your time is your life.